He goes mad for those ads, he's got a Trailer Jones.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Trailer Jones. I'm your host Brandon Jones, and for this episode I'm joined by Ian Hink.
Hi.
And Kyle Bossman.
Hello.
And we are here to, you don't love trailers, we're kicking it off. It's the first one in the new studio. And you've lost your edge. But it might be a different kind of Bossman for the future, you know what I mean?
No, I still have trailers.
Well, it's good to hear because we are actually scoring trailers. We have not done this since December. And I like January because there's not a lot of big events. We obviously had Mortal Kombat review. We'll get to Mortal Kombat. But so I like digging deep into seeing what different games that are coming out in the beginning of 2019 want to let us know about their games in the month of January. So today we're going to be looking at the launch trailer for Dusk, the story trailer for Far Cry New Dawn, very much anticipating what the story in this game is, personally, and the Sonya Blade official trailer voiced by Ronda Rousey for Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, according to the trailer, Sonya Blade is voicing Ronda Rousey.
This is the official name of the trailer, Mortal Kombat 11, Sonya Blade official trailer voiced by Ronda Rousey.
Wow.
No, dude.
That's a long title. Points against.
You finally arrived.
So we're kicking it off with Dusk.
Dusk.
Ian, have you heard of this game before today?
No.
Kyle, have you heard of this game before today?
Yes.
Okay, what did you heard? What expectations did you have going into watching this trailer?
That it was capturing old school first-person shooter vibes, like Quake-esque. I had seen screenshots. I don't think I had seen gameplay. And I gotta say, I have a very positive impression of this game after the trailer.
Well, that's what I was curious. Is like this game seems to excel at what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, probably something that accepts the fact. Probably a project that's like you're either going to be into this game or you're not. Like you can be able to tell right away. I'm sure a lot of people look at this. It's like, wow, this seems really old school. Why are these graphics this way? And other people are like, yes, like I've been waiting for this for a very long time. And so, that's what always intrigues me on the show is let's not judge the game on the merits of the game itself, but how do you sell this game? Do you understand that you have a very limited scope as far as the audience is going to be naturally attracted to your game? Do you reach out and try to find other viewers? As someone who is unfamiliar with this game, Ian, how do you feel about Dusk now?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting trailer. Obviously, immediately I was like, okay, yeah, they're doing the Quake thing. I like the speed of the gameplay. The trailer was a little strange because at first blush, I kind of didn't like this, but now that I've thought about it more, I think it's probably a bold move, maybe the right move. The trailer doesn't have any mention of like a retro experience. Like it plays it totally straight as though this is just like, here's what games are. Game is a cool, fast shooting game, and it never, gives up the ghost or explains itself. Which at first I was like, well, you're right. What is this? Is it? Because the trailer is cut very to the rhythm, and I was like, okay, is there like a rhythm shooter? And I'm like, no, it's just Quake, and it looks awesome and fast.
I wanted to ask you too about that actually, because there are a lot of beats that are punctuated by gunshots.
I love that so much.
I know. I'm wondering how they captured it. So do you think somebody playing this game is like timing out their gunshots, or is that in the edit?
It's mostly in the edit.
I think it's in the edit. I think they just had a gratuitous amount of B-roll, and I think they just picked those shots. I'm sure they had many shotgun reloading, shotgun fire, shotgun reloading shots, and so they just look at that. This one happens to line up.
Sure.
It's funny though because that's the current trend. It has been for a year and a half or two of action movies. Is like you've got your Imagine Dragons song, and then you've got someone going like to the beat, and so it's getting played out. It's the new Inception that happened in movies for a year, and then games started doing it and cutting to black all the time. Now games are doing this. It's very well done in this, but it's definitely like a trope now for trailers.
I think it works here because, again, this is not a trailer that's selling this game beyond its means. This trailer, I think, sells this game for what it is. The music, I think, is appropriate. It's short. It doesn't drag out too long. It gets to the gameplay immediately. It's not there's not a lot of like After Effects transitions. It's not trying to sugarcoat the fact this is a very retro-styled game.
A couple of cross dissolves, which is kind of funny.
Boom. Let's get into that. Actually, that's on my list. I'm actually going to knock the trailer a bunch for that. That was weird. weird. And I get that maybe the action is so frantic and the camera is swiveling so much that it might be construed as like awkward or jarring if they just do a direct cut. But I think awkward
Most
and jarring
of their fades are on the motion. It's weird. Yeah, like they just did 2 fades during gun fighting, and like I think it would have worked as a cut. But,
I think it suggests the trailer needs some kind of softness that seems weird to me. Like everything else in the trailer is very much not soft,
Too metal.
very much not playing it safe. And I think for people at home, like dissolves really is what you're being hung up on. But yeah, I want to be very technical. I just think that was a weird choice. Another weird choice is the episodes in the beginning. It's something they start doing and then lose. I kind of like it a little bit because, again, I think it speaks to like the honesty of this trailer that like they are not, again, trying to show it off as something that it is not. So I just like the idea that like this is, if you like these old type of games, this is going to be a very linear, like if you're talking to friends and they're like, oh, you know what was really great was this level by name. And it's like, it's like, oh, 8. And like, oh, 8 was great. I remember 8. Like Astro Bots. Like, oh, World 4. Like I think it's,
Facing
I don't mind
worlds.
that they say up front, or episodes they call them, like this is going to be a segmented game. You are definitely going to remember each level as compared to others. But then they kind of lose that. What do you nodded no, Kyle? Are you not a fan?
You save it to the end. Dusk. Episode 1, poof, episode 2, poof, episode 3. It's after the title. It's ridiculous to me to name your episodes before you name your game. I'm not into that.
It's also weird because it says available now at the end of the trailer. And I'm like, okay, does that mean episodes 1, 2, and 3 are available now? Or just episode 1 is available now?
I feel bad because I should have done the research, but at the same time, whenever stuff like this happens, I feel kind of good because it's nice being confused. I'm trying to see what can we glean from the trailer.
We're judging
itself.
the trailer, not facts and
on one hand, I could see
information on
this
the
game being episodic. At the same time, I could see this game, releasing. This seems like the kind of game where they're just like, hey, we added a level, have fun.
Yeah.
So who knows how that wraps up.
But it's a confusing aspect of the trailer.
Lots of games that have a budget like Dusk don't even bother with sound effects. That's another thing too that I like that the shotguns line up. I like that they let us hear this game because obviously this is a game we need to hear.
In the trailer, you mean?
In the trailer, yeah. And one final thing that I thought was interesting, Kyle, or Ian, that you mentioned before we watched, is they had 2 names go by. I cannot even remember either of them.
David Zemansky and Andrew Hulsholt.
And Ian, you said, Am I supposed to know these guys? And it's an interesting thing where like our Mortal Kombat 11 trailer we're watching later today isn't like a new game by Ed Boon. Like,
right.
I don't mind it personally because I get the sense like if you don't know who they are, whatever, you don't. But
I mean,
like,
they're probably huge in like the Quake community.
If you know, then yeah,
or
just generally in PC gaming. So like if you know their names, that's going to mean a lot to you. And as someone who doesn't know their names, I do kind of I get a sense of like love and care from this trailer. Like this was obviously made, the creators of this game played this game a lot themselves, and so I don't kind of mind not knowing who those names are because I like that it represents like this was a vision that people had. Like we're not doing this because we think this trailer is going to fit a certain demographic or that it's filling some niche that like that this industry needs right now. This was a passion project. I'm completely inventing all of this in my brain because I don't know them. But are we losing any points from you, Kyle, for having creators you do not recognize?
No, you think of like buying a board game and it's just some German man's name on the box.
Yeah.
I get excited.
A great analogy.
I'm good with it. I'm cool.
I think this trailer's fun. I won't go too high. I think I'm satisfied, which a happy satisfied usually ends up in the 8 range. Because I like metal as much as I do, I'll go 8.2. What do we think, gents? Intrigued?
Yeah, it grew on me. At my first blush because of the opening VO, I was like, I'm out, But now watching
just
it
VO
again,
in general, or the style of voice, or
just like starting. I don't remember what is said, but like starting off with just like be excited about this thing you've never heard of.
So if Bloodborne 2 started with like, you ready for more Bloodborne?
It would.
I would be yeah. It never would, but I'd be like, yes, please. But yeah, 8 feels right. Like 7.5, 8. I'll say 7.5.
So I was gonna go 8.3. That was the score before we started recording. But then we realized at the end of this trailer, there's a shot of you flushing something down a functional toilet at the end of this trailer. That's 0.5. If any trailer ends it with a functional trailer, you get another 0.5 added on. So that's 8.8 for this.
8.8.
Oh, that's too high. But it is a really good trailer to its credit. I love the music and I love the implementation of the music. it all ties into what this game is and what it's about. There are some sloppy shots. I think the last shot that's showing off the rocket jumps is like a mess. And it's so weird that it all builds up to that shot.
Well,
and
let
I
me
think
tell
the
you,
idea is like you can rocket jump, but it's like a bad shot.
It's incredibly hard to cut Twitch gameplay.
Yeah.
Like fast, twitchy first-person shooters. Like it is hard to make that look good. So they did a pretty good job with that. Yeah, maybe 7.5 is too low.
Well,
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
I implore you to stay there.
He bumped it up. Okay, yeah.
Because the average is 8.2, which means I was correct.
Oh, okay.
That's what Huber says.
I was 6 years old the first time I saw the sun.
I have to say right up front, I'm emotional about this trailer because I have emotions about Far Cry 5. I know neither of you played Far Cry 5.
I played it for like 5 hours.
There were a lot of story trailers that came out in January. There were a lot of games. Yoshi's Crafted World
Had a story
had a
trailer?
story trailer.
I gotta watch
it
it.
has a
There's
story?
Several story trailers came out. I want to talk about this story trailer because
Okay.
I don't think really story was suggested very much, if at all, in the first time we saw Far Cry New Dawn.
Sure it was.
I have finished Far Cry 5. Far Cry New Dawn as a property kind of spoils the ending of Far Cry 5. So it is an interesting, I think this trailer does have a responsibility to explain, to pre-hype, to answer a lot of questions that a lot of people, including myself, have for Far Cry New Dawn. And as the two of you who have not played Far Cry 5 and are likely not to play Far Cry New Dawn, I'm curious about how interested you are in this story. So I mean, I guess let's start there. Did anything spark in this trailer for you?
It's funny that that's your reaction because to me this story trailer, quote unquote, tells me no real new information other than what the other first trailer already told me. The bad guys are those two black ladies and the father's still alive, and I guess the new information is you have to go to him for help.
Right.
I think that's
you can-
literally
you
the
can
only
feel
new
it
story.
Yeah, you can feel it in the trailer too where they, can you
Right.
not- look what you have to do.
And maybe
We're
you
going
play
back.
as a woman in this one? Unclear, but like that's the only new story in this story trailer. The other trailers set up the story already.
I think that's one of my criticisms is, yeah, you say, like, am I looking at the character I'm playing or is that my friend?
Right,
Or
right.
I would have liked to
this
maybe
lady, is she the
have
player
her
character?
name or just kind of like, she's the only, other than the villains in one shot, she's the only person that actually speaks when you hear her voiceover, like you see her close up.
Mm-hmm.
And so for being a story trailer, I know very little about this compound. Like, I would have maybe liked a little more of a tour of like, where are we? Where are these places? Is this all in our compound or is this all in the enemy compound? Or we kind of see their like dinner hall, I guess where they get together and have raucous parties.
Yeah.
Kyle, excited at all?
This is a bad trailer.
And I don't mean to dump on it right away,
Yeah.
but I'm very critical of this game, this trailer, this marketing, everything.
Yeah, so it's funny. To me, Jones, I thought the reveal trailer was actually pretty effective. I think I would have scored it pretty high. This one, to me, it's trying to set up an issue, right? That it doesn't. It's trying to set up a conflict that you don't feel. Basically, and the way, and I just realized because we're watching it over and over, the way they kick it off is one of the twins is just holding this helmet, and the cut is like when it's down by her side.
Yeah.
It's like not even like you don't feel that impact, and then just cut to there's fire and a bunch of people down on the ground. You have to make us hate those characters to understand why we have to go to the villain from the
Yes.
first game. And
Right.
that's not expressed at
I
all.
want to jump to that topic because they do
Yeah.
say, the father does say later, he's like, oh, and now you're afraid? And it's like, I'm not afraid
No.
of these two
Right.
women. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't like, does my location, are they mad at me? Do we cross paths somewhere on the open road and then now they have a vendetta against us? Is our home kind of on some worthwhile land that they're trying to take from us? They're going to build a highway where our like base is.
Make us feel something.
Are they just like reckless? Is this kind of like Mad Max where like they're just nuts?
'Cause I like
and like
them.
they just don't do.
That's the thing.
I
They're too
kinda
cool.
do, yeah, like
The
it'd be-
villains are cooler than everyone else in this entire game.
And I think that actually would be an interesting approach for you to belong to this horrible gang and just how much of this land can we dominate? And maybe the father's fighting against you. He's like, no, I'm trying to recruit all the good people. That would be an interesting twist. Also, just for the record, and I know it's difficult for you to supply context for this, but like, no more father, please. Like, I'm so surprised after everything that we went through in Far Cry 5 that like he's back and we have to deal with him again, because there was a lot of story-driven speed bumps that are not the fault of the player. Like you would find yourself at a point of victory in the story and then like, oh, arrow to the knee, or like, oh, you're knocked out. Then you wake up and you're in prison and he's like, I told you weren't going to win. And you're like, well, I didn't win because the story told me I wasn't going to, not because of anything that I did wrong. And then we finally get through all of that and like, he's back. It's just like, I was not sold on. I get that they thought there was some kind of twist there. And admittedly there is, of like you having to go to him and maybe like, what is that crew like? The shot with the boat going under that archway, like that is a recognizable location. So like I get a little bit of, okay.
I like the shot.
Parts of this valley will be underwater that we'll see moving on, but
well, that kind of
I'm
brings
just so
me...
tired of that character, and I feel bad because he's a great actor. He's very involved in their advertising, and I'm sure he's super excited to be involved in this. I'm sure he was very into the script and very into continuing his character. But as someone exhausted by how much I had to deal with him in 5, I'm not moved by that at all.
That kind of brings me to like, who is this trailer for, and who is this game on the whole for? Because like, Primal used the same map as 3 or 4 or whatever, but it was like a whole other thing. This is a sequel, and the story trailer and the other trailer spoils Far Cry 5 to the extent that it's like, okay, I guess I never have to play that for the story. Not that I would, but like, this is a continuation of that story for all accounts and purposes from this, and this trailer doubles down on that, where it's like, okay, you're going back to the villain from the first game for help. It's like, okay, I have to be invested in that, and I know Far Cry 5 sold a lot, so it obviously is not a bad idea for them to do that, but the crazy thing to me is this trailer's not set up to get new people, I think. Right. Like this is set up to get the people who bought and liked Far Cry 5, because to them I think that's enough. The numbers were good enough that that's the only people they care about. They're not even trying to get Kyle or me to play this. Right. And like to some extent they don't even want you because you didn't like the father. They want the people who did.
Right.
And they're telling you that.
Well, they got me because no one else sees. Oh, this is cover Far Cry New Dawn.
We don't have to cover Far Cry New Dawn.
I'm curious. I'm going to check this darn game out. And I don't want to harp on it too much because this is Ubisoft. Ubisoft makes 5 billion trailers for each of their games.
Yeah.
So it's not like the entire game or campaign is hinged on this one trailer. And it's extremely short, and we've talked about it for quite a bit. So I'm going to rush to my 5.5 score and ask you for yours, gentlemen.
Wow.
I can't go 6 because there's nothing. There's maybe that moment where they're like, we got to go to the father, and the boat shot and the boar. I was like, oh, we'll probably have a boar friend now, I'm guessing. I don't know. Is that just a crazy wild animal, or is that... It's another thing, too, that like we can brush right past is not a lot of focus. It is a story trailer, but I was expecting a little bit more focus on like, because the partners that you had in 5 were some of my favorite things about the game. Like the people that you would join you, and it's like, are we seeing any of them in this trailer? Should I meet any of them now, or are there going to be new ones? I don't know.
Trailers like this kind of just double down or like reinforce to me my persistent notion that games just aren't there yet. Like, we're trying to do things that games don't have the technology to do yet. Like, the people and animals look bad in this, to me. And, like, they're showing us a lot of close-ups. And, 5.5 sounds fine.
I'm going hard 5. This is average. The sweep, the gentle sweep left and right, when the camera, just like that movement is so overused in this trailer. There's nothing like cool and new. Mm-hmm. That reveal trailer showed like that dirt track that was at least cool. That cool like saw blade gun is in this, but they're showing somebody loading it up and shooting it. No impact. We don't know how cool that gun. It bums me out. My least favorite thing is like the kind of camera that just looks at the animations of the game from a free roam, and that's basically what we're looking at here. Right. Those aren't cutscene shots. Those are shots of, hey, this is what like the gameplay will be. Let me have my little free roaming camera and move and spin around there. It's just like, that's ugly. It's an ugly shot.
5.3 is the collective score. It bums me out. I'm putting down quotes right down here. It bums me out.
You've been looking for me, Scarlet.
And finally today, we are looking at the Sonya Blade official trailer voiced by Ronda Rousey for Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11, I think, was probably one of the biggest gaming media events in January, outside of everyone's goatees and just talking about 2018 at large. And so I wanted to cover it in some point, and I think what I don't want to cover is why Ronda Rousey is Sonya Blade. There's a lot of controversy from fans and non-fans, everywhere. I want to, like we do on Trailer Jones, limit this literally just to this piece of media itself. So you do not work for NetherRealm. You work for an advertising company. NetherRealm has already cast her, maybe even already shot this interview, and has now come to you and said, make a trailer, package this together. So this is not only something that our fans can be informed by, but they can be excited about this announcement. How do you do it? Is this the way you do it? Kyle cringed when I introduced this, so I'm going directly to him.
Oh, this is not how you do it, dude. Ronda Rousey isn't this. She's not. Sonya Blade is blank excitement. She's not the end of that sentence that gets you excited. And so to me, it's so funny. This trailer is edited. You hear one line from her and it's just like, call in evac or something like that, or whatever, call in support. And then it's just like, hey, that's
Air
me.
support, yeah.
That's me doing the voice acting. I was like, what voice acting? I heard like 3 sentences from her in this entire trailer. And she never talks about the character as a character, right? She talks about, like, I liked her style. I like Mortal Kombat. I like violence. She never really talks about who Sonya Blade is.
I think there was a fear from the team or from advertising where they were like, we have to establish her as a gamer. We have to establish her as someone who has a history with Mortal Kombat. They keep going back to that. The first time she played Mortal Kombat, how much video game she played as a kid, the fact that she beat an adult for the first time
and that story
through this
sucked,
video
right?
game.
Yeah.
It's okay. I just think like that's one soundbite. Just to pick the best one that shows that she actually does have not only an understanding but an affinity for Mortal Kombat, and then move on. I would love to know like what's Sonya up to now, like what's happening to her. I mean, no spoilers, but like what can I expect the character to do? Were there any challenges that were weird beyond you just being like, they don't have to look at me while I'm recording this stuff? I would have loved to see her start speaking on the mic in the booth and then cut to a cutscene and have her continue that line from a cutscene.
Yeah.
She had, that one moment where she's like, you see her outtakes almost. I'm like, this is fun, but give me just one line of her actually saying it into the mic, which a lot of like VO actor trailers do whenever they show off the cast. Like you'll see them actually speaking into the mic and doing what they do.
It's weird because this trailer is more about, just Ronda Rousey, not the game. And like, this trailer's far too long for what it is. Like her talking about how, they just hear me so I can look however I want during it's like she's explaining what voice acting is to us. And I'm like, that's fine that she's excited about that, but why did you include that?
Right.
She talks about that for 30 seconds in this trailer. I'm like, why did you include that? And like, it's weird that they have to keep proving that she's a gamer, which is kind of just depressing to me that like, we have to prove that this badass fighter woman is a gamer. But like,
deserves to play this badass fighter.
Right. Deserves to be. She has to deserve it in this trailer, which is just depressing to me. But it's just too long and it didn't do what it needed to do. And we only heard like effort sounds and 1 or 2 lines. And it's like, okay, so this isn't a trailer about this video game. It's just an actor announcement trailer, which is fine.
And this was one of like 5 trailers that came out that day, when they announced stuff. So there's a lot more coming out from Mortal Kombat. I just really wanted to zero in on this one because it felt weird. It felt like there was something maybe that we could discuss again, not the casting, not the way that this is going. But as long as I'm on the topic, I think suggesting this in a way of really making like one of the big announcements, because when I saw people talking about Mortal Kombat in their coverage, it was all over the place. They're talking about mechanics and graphics and how much they got to play the event itself, the way it was lit and the location. But you look at Twitter and it's Mortal Kombat 11, Ronda Rousey. Like those are like the main big headlines that people are talking about.
Yeah.
And then that makes me wonder, are there any other weird wrestler UFC people that are in this game, or is this it? Or what? It's like, is it literally just her and then a bunch of voice actors playing all the other characters? Or what? And is that where you want to be if you're Mortal Kombat 11 right now? Me being like, is Terry Crews in this? Is Jean-Claude Van Damme in this? What's going on? When does this stop? Is that a good thing to tease?
I don't think it matters. For people, the adherents of this game don't care who's voicing the characters. They care about if the gameplay is good and the fighting is good.
And we do see a lot of footage. I like, you can tell it's too long because we see the like purple garrote grapple move twice. And the second time it comes up, it's like, all right, wrap it up.
The helicopter fatality is pretty funny. It's funny to me, like, I know that movies, obviously games and movies are different, but like, movies obviously have the featurette trailer, but it's funny to me how it seems like it's in a higher frequency in gaming that we get trailers like this. It's like, do people really care how these things are made and who's voicing these things? Like, I feel like we just want to see the game.
Yeah, I think in this case, when you come out on stage and you say, I mean, I don't know why it says Sonya Blade is Ronda Rousey. It's just
backwards.
say Ronda Rousey. It's Sonya Blade for forever now. Get used to it, fans. Never going back. But I do think it deserves a trailer. I do like highlighting it because if you come out on stage and say, yeah, Sonya Blade's Ronda Rousey. Anyway, like if I was a fan, I'd be like, explain yourself. Like, at least give me 2 minutes where you go into detail. And maybe that's another thing actually that I just thought of right now that this trailer needs is like, why? Like, why? Weird thing to focus on bringing in a known athlete to come in and play a Mortal Kombat character. Like, that is a little odd. I can't think of any other Mortal Kombat games that focused on an actor, that, like at launch. It is a weird thing. Was this done?
Ash was in the other one. Did
contact?
They do a thing about her? I don't remember.
Not at the reveal. Like, and obviously there are character trailers for everything, but like specifically the reveal, specifically coming out on stage and having this in the first 2 hours of us seeing any gameplay, anything from this game beyond that initial cinematic tease.
I mean, it's the definition of stunt casting, where you're casting someone who's not even an actor in a thing and then touting that as the news. So
I guess my main question for this, which I think we've answered, and it's time to move on to scores, is how do you make this trailer seem like it's not that? How do you reaffirm your fan base and tell them, no, we're doing this because we honestly think this is going to make this game better, or even in an honest sense, maybe get new people interested in Mortal Kombat. Like, this will be good for the franchise, like the Diablo mobile game. It's like, no, this is going to help. We might botch the messaging right off the bat, but like we are doing this because we do want this game to be better and more people to play it, and have a bigger audience for Mortal Kombat 12 whenever that happens.
It's a bummer because I do think that the thing this trailer does that is nice is that it shows her kind of as a person, like the actor Ronda Rousey as a person.
I can't fault her. I think she's fine.
Right. But like the trailer made the choice that we're just gonna introduce you to Ronda Rousey as a person, and I think that's a good impulse. That's fine. But like the more hype video game way to do it is just show her doing the punches as she makes the effort sounds and then cut it to doing the punches and hearing the effort sounds, and saying the lines. And I think that would be more exciting. I think that this is like more of a featurette of like meet Ronda Rousey, which is fine. It's just not like a game trailer. And because it checks that box, I'll give it a 6 because I think there's a lot of gameplay here. This was the reveal. We see almost like every single cool special move that she does. The helicopter. And so I like that. I think we agreed that it goes on for too long, but they did get a lot of sound bites from her. She's got a great energy. So I think it like is formulaic, but there's nothing technically wrong with it. I just think there maybe could be a better way that they could have handled the announcement. But that announcement event itself, I think, was exciting. Where are you landing, Ian? Yeah. What did I give New Dawn? I think this is like, it's like the same 5.5. Yeah, it's like the same level to me of, they're opposite sides of the same coin. It's like, here's the boring way to do this. So I'll give it a 5.5, just as a trailer.
So I'm going with 4 initially, Jones, and of course minus 0.5 because of pre-order now. And I realize what it is, Jones. All right. There's a reverence here for Sonya Blade that doesn't exist. This trailer is so tonally off of what Mortal Kombat is. It's treating it like it's like the Polar Express. Right. It's not the Polar Express. We don't need like somebody to be bubbly and excited to be Sonya Blade, And so I think that's where it's off. This trailer shouldn't exist in the way that it does. Maybe it's the interviewer. Maybe you could have asked actual interesting questions to Ronda Rousey.
She might have given interesting answers. They just didn't want to do that. Yeah, and I maybe that's it. Like, did she make any mistakes? Did you have to go back on anything? Were there any challenges from having her just suddenly pop into this cast? Yeah. What did she think of the previous Sonyas? What was her favorite? It'd be interesting to see like where we're at, why this decision was made. I guess honesty is always appreciated in advertising like this. But I thought it was one score. Ian brought it lower than that. Kyle went even lower than that, dropping it to an even 5.0, right at the middle of the scale. There's a lot worse you can do, but obviously a lot better. And I'm still really excited about this game. I don't think this has hurt really Mortal Kombat significantly.
You kind of can't.
I'm excited for more gameplay. Obviously, the less fatalities you see before you play it, the better. But still, better work could have been done, Mortal Kombat, but we're still excited to play it. And before we wrap everything up, there are 4 other trailers that I want to let you know exist. Alien Blackout, I really wanted to dump on because they had a reveal trailer that has like 2 shots, and they're like Blackout. And you're like, no, like you needed to do a lot more than that. It's not indicative of how you play it.
Does it show the game
at all?
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm guessing it's gameplay.
Sure.
I don't know. And then you hear her being nervous, and then a logo, and it's just like you had a task ahead of you in trying to sell that game, and you did not. SNK 40th Anniversary Collection did their best job to try to recreate like an old classic 80s commercial of like people playing the fun games back in the day. Clearly shot in their conference room, clearly put together over like 3 or 4 days, but I commend you for the attempt. Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown had a very bizarre launch trailer with just a lot of crazy drums and gameplay, like very little VO. It just kind of gets right into lots of like lock-on targeting and weird ships and stuff. And I was like, interesting launch trailer. Like a lot of times launch trailers really try to encapsulate the whole experience. And this one was just like, you blow stuff up and you
Going
fly.
for the feeling, Jones.
Exactly. And to turn things around, I feel this is a somewhat negative episode of Trailer Jones. Wargroove had an absolutely delightful cinematic trailer. If Wargroove was a television show, I would watch it based on this trailer. Every time you see cinematic trailer, you think, okay, we're seeing cutscenes, or they're going to break out that CG budget. It is just wonderfully hand-drawn art. Reminds me of like Thundercats or He-Man. It just has this really great vibe. So if Wargroove is not on your list, I encourage you to go out and check out that cinematic trailer. But I want to thank Ian, Hank, and Kyle Bossman for joining me for the first Trailer Jones of 2019 and the very first Trailer Jones in our brand new studio. Let me know what you thought of all these trailers. Keep those trailer recommendations coming. You can follow me at Trailer Jones if you want to let me know what not to miss. And we'll be back in the month of February for 3 more trailers and 3 more scores.